Bill Gates has an ill sinister motive to Africa at large.
Difficult. I am saying do not force GMO on us just because for the time being we've been hit by drought.
Mondia Sikatana is Zambia's Minister for Agriculture.
Look at our varieties. Typical African. It's so nice, all colors. All this will be wiped out through the GMO. This is GMO.
The Minister for Agriculture has a passion for indigenous African plants. He's been leading the campaign against accepting the GM food aid and for finding alternatives.
My answer to you, the crisis is critical. We must face it. We must appeal to those that have non-GMO. We must go to our other varieties, millet, sorghum, cassava, to feed these people on.
There's no doubt the government is facing a huge challenge.
But for America to force GMO on underdeveloped countries, we say no. We know how powerful they are, but they cannot be as powerful as to force us to swallow. Not our pride, but food that we are suspecting will be dangerous to our bodies.
The Zambian government says the World Food Programme, which brought the maize into the country, didn't tell it the maize was genetically modified. The government only found out after the maize had arrived.
Ladies and gentlemen,
in August, it called a public meeting to work out what to do.
We, as a government, are sensitive to the plight of our own people because we belong to those people and can never ever risk, deliberately or otherwise, risk the lives of our own people.
There was immense pressure to make a decision quickly. Ships with more GM maize were already on their way from America. Zambians were warned that if they didn't take it, someone else would.
I would urge that a decision on this issue be made expeditiously, for some 42,000 tons.
In the United States, half the farmlands are overtaken by superweeds. The most important one is Palmer amaranth. Amaranth is a sacred crop for us. We eat it. Now the U.S. defense system, DARPA, and Bill Gates have joined hands for a new technology called gene drives to push species to extinction. And they want to drive the amaranth to extinction. And there's a footnote in that report saying, oh yeah, there'll be a food security impact on India. They eat amaranth. No, there'll be a food security impact on the world. This is an acceleration of the race to extinction. It is immoral. It should be made illegal.
11 years ago, Raila defended the GMO.
Raila defended the genetically modified maize, saying even Parliament had passed the biosafety bill, adding that even did the said food was injurious to human health, advanced economies like America would not have allowed its citizens to partake of it.
Embrace science, and to know, Mr. Speaker, that science is moving on. Mr. Speaker, conservatism, Mr. Speaker, will kill innovation. Mr. Speaker, these countries I've mentioned here are fairly civilized, advanced countries. They will not allow their own population to consume GMO food if it is harmful.
He urged Parliament not to create fear amongst Kenyans now that various agencies are donating food to those ravaged by drought.
GM foods currently available on the international market have passed risk assessment and are not likely to present risks for human health.
In 2022, now that he's not in government, he's completely changed the tune.
Nitasema ati mimi sina habari ya kwamba tumekuwa na GMO hapa. Manake mbegu ya GMO ikija ni kitu kingine kabisa mpaka ijulikane. Na hizo mbegu ya GMO ikipandwa na kimea, sasa hiyo shamba huwezi kutumia mbegu ya kienyeji tena hapo. Hata ukipanda hapo hazitamea. Inaharibu mchanga na tena mpaka utumie ile mbolea ambayo vile vile itauziwa wewe na hizi makampuni. Kwa hiyo na sasa kwa mfano ikiingia hata wale wakulima ambayo wanapinga watakuwa hawana chaguo. Maanake ikipandwa katika shamba hii, ikimea, itaambukiza shamba yako ambayo iko kando ya hii shamba na shamba hizi zingine hapo. Kwa hivyo ikisaingia namna hii kuitoa sio rahisi. Lakini kama unaanza kuitumia tena mpaka uzidi kutumia, na hiyo mbegu hawapatia wewe mbegu, wewe hujui siri ya vile hiyo mbegu inatengenezwa. Ukishaanza kutumia hizo mbegu kila mwaka mpaka wewe ununue hiyo mbegu kutoka kwa hizo kampuni hizo. Usiponunua huwezi kupanda. Na sasa vile vile huwezi kurudi kupanda ile mbegu ya kienyeji. Hiyo vile vile sasa imekwisha. Maana ukipanda katika hiyo shamba hazitamea. Hiyo ndio changamoto ambayo iko kwa juu mambo ya GMO.
And in this episode, I'd like us to answer two simple questions. Number 1, does GMO kill? And number 2, what are the dangers of the GMO to human beings? And these two simple questions will simply be answered based on the facticity of Sir Henry Kissinger's report that was also known as the National Security Study Memorandum, NSSM 200. But before we concretize on that, if you're watching me for the very first time, kindly please consider hitting on the subscribe button. If you've been watching my videos and you have not subscribed, kindly please consider hitting on the subscribe button. And more so, if you're watching me from a different platform, either Telegram, TikTok or Facebook, kindly please just head on to YouTube, search for Mohamed Isudi. I'll be the first right person to pop up. If matters socio-economic and political matters are your great areas of concerns, kindly please consider hitting on the subscribe button so that each and every time that I upload a new video, it will automatically reflect on your notification panel. And by so doing, you'll simply be supporting my content. Now, according to Henry Kissinger's report that was completed in 10th December 1974, it mainly directed 4 main observations. Number 1, population growth of foreign nations provided more geopolitical power and possible opposition to the United States' interests. Number 2, the United States relies on countries being underdeveloped in order to easily obtain natural resources. Number 3, high birth rates result with more younger individuals who oppose established governments. And number 4, American businesses were vulnerable to interference by foreign governments that are required to provide for growing populations. The report also recommended that the US leadership should influence national leaders and improve worldwide support for population-related efforts, and consider preferential allocation of surplus food to poor countries. And I believe that is the reason why recently Bill Gates had to jet in the country. Marshall Green was the coordinator of the population affairs, and that tells you the reason why decade after decade, century after century, there'll always be upcoming pandemic to hit the world at large. We've had the cases of the HIV pandemic, there then came cancer, there then recently came the COVID-19. We honestly don't know what is next. I would like also to be very categorical in this, simply because there is nowhere in this episode that I've stated that the GMO products are either bad or harmful. But it is upon you, being an adult, to scrutinize the Henry Kissinger's report and know what is good and bad for you. This should be a wake-up call to Kenyans so that they can rise and dichotomize the good from the bad, simply because they should stop relying on politicians, considering the fact that a politician will always base his argument on whichever their political affiliation is. And that is why 11 years ago, when Raila was in government, he was strongly supporting the introduction of the GMOs. 11 years later, here he is criticizing the same. The Kenyan scientists are also quiet, and there may be two things involved. We don't know if they have been paid to shun away from these GMO facts, or there is a research that they are doing. But as I end this, kindly please don't forget to subscribe. And my word advice of the day is, the power of a man can break a woman's bones, but the silence of a woman can destroy the man's entire destiny. Thank you, and may God bless you.